all three phases rocking together. That's the goal. Get that part of our complementary football exactly like we want to do it. I said yesterday I'd give you the roster moves or any injury updates. I'll work you through some of that right now. Last week we worked Noah Brown back into practice, and unfortunately his groin didn't respond. And given that, we'll place him on IR. And the aim is to get Noah fully right. He's such a tough competitor, but it's the right call right now to get him into that spot, and let's get him all the way back and ready. We also opened the 21-day window for Jonathan Jones, so it'll be great to have him back at practice today. And the team signed defensive end Drake Jackson. He's still working back from a knee injury, but we are glad to have him here. So all that said, glad to get rolling with you guys.
With Noah, I mean, what happened with the groin? Was there a setback, or did something happen while he was practicing that re-injured it? And I guess why not put him on IR before this point? Yeah,
well, I would say it wasn't a setback. It just hasn't responded, quite the way that it needs to. So I wouldn't call it a setback. Hindsight's 20/20. And I think the main thing is, man, we're going to get him right. And that's the ultimate goal to get there. So we know that means 4 more weeks, and the guy's working incredibly hard at it. And so we want to make sure hit all the marks that we can with him.
Then what's the plan for Terry this week?
He'll practice this week, and I'll have a better sense where we're going, because today is going to be more at a jog-through pace where we're not, fully, speed up and going, but that'll be more as we get into tomorrow. But, I'll have a better assessment after we go through some full speed, routes and movements to see where he's at. But I'm excited where he's trending.
With Noah, is this something that would require surgery, or is this just more time, rest, recovery?
More time, and just we're going to really push it, make sure the recovery's right, the strength's right, and just kind of go through all of it to make sure he's really ready.
Have you had a chance to talk to him as he's dealt with all this? I mean, it's been
I will today.
Kidney,
I didn't,
knee, everything.
This morning. I have obviously previously, but not specifically today, but I will this afternoon. He's one of these competitors. He takes it hard. He cares so much. He loves it. And so, moments like now are hard because of who the competitor is. But the good news is that, let's put the plan in place that we can absolutely, nail it to get him back. And that's what we'll aim to do.
Dan, is there any concern with Armstrong and the hamstring going forward?
I think there's always concern in and out, and he kind of showed, man, I'm going to battle through it to go. We won't really hit our speed stuff till tomorrow, David, so I think I'll have a better shot today. He's able to do the walks and that kind of stuff today, so I'm encouraged by that. But until you load it, go. The good news is, like I said, he's in, he's out, but meaning coming back and forth into the game. But I'll have a better feel for him tomorrow as we get a little bit more movement.
As you dig in or dug into kind of the issues with starts, do you go all the way into what time are we getting to the stadium? What do they do in pregame? What are our pregame drills looking like? Are you going that deep into it?
I do, and I also want to dig in, to the leaders and say, what are some things that we need to do to hit it? And it's not a score as much as an attitude, a mindset to go. So I want to make sure I'm clear on that, because if you only base it just on that, I think you could miss it. And so it's not that. And I liked the intentness getting ready. And like I said, the offense had a long drive. We turned the ball over at the end of it, but it is important. And so it's more collaboration to say, is there anything else we need to do and hit differently? I've had those conversations, and I'll continue to tweak it until we get it exactly right.
Coach, how have you seen opposing defenses change their game plans when facing you guys with Terry and Noah's absence?
It depends, I think, where on the field some. I think it's also their matchup too, in terms of they want to play more man-to-man or doing things differently. The run game, not counting last game into that space, but I think that's been one of the areas we've started to really, hit our marks, and that alone changes some things, because having the ability to go down, stop the run, some of the ones, I think that could be as big a factor as anything. But for sure, that's part of it. But you just have to navigate how you go and who you're there. Like, there's a way to win every game. You just have to go dig in and find it, and it might not be the same every week. And we're equipped to do that.
Over here. Your defense obviously has had some issues, and you're facing one of the best offenses in the league. What has been their psyche since Monday night, and how much does pride play a factor in you guys getting better?
Yeah, I don't also want to portray the sky is falling either. You know, there's some things that I like about how we're doing some things on third down. We're not getting the ball enough, Chick, honestly. And that's one part of playing good defense. We're not hitting our tackling, you know, to the space that I think is the standard that we've set. But we've also had some moments where we know what good can look like and what it does. So we want to make sure we're capturing that. Meetings-wise, it's tense, it's tight, like it should be when you're, you know, trying to dig in and find the right answers. And that's what's cool about this group, that it's not somebody pointing or, you know, doing that. It's, hey, man, let's go through our thing together and how we'd go about it. So you're right, it's a great challenge with Dallas and, you know, weapons they have. And I think Dak's honestly hitting, you know, his marks at a high level right now. That's what the tape tells me so far. And we're looking forward to the challenge.
Just to take a step back to Terry, what was the biggest kind of step forward that he took last week, and what do you need to see from him specifically this week if he's going to play? We call him like a game simulation where you run different routes, you work different movements. Sometimes in a rehab you could see, you know, it's predicted where you're going to go, and so off-schedule throws, how to do different things. So that's a good step when you're moving forward. So that's part of the process, like in your return to play, to like simulate more closely related, you know, plays. So the fact that we're moving in that direction, that's a good sign. And then broadly, when making decisions about whether or not somebody goes on IR, like obviously this would be, I think, his fourth week. How do you guys go through that decision-making process? Through the medical team, and lean into what, you know, the guidelines that they want to set and how to go. How long is a predicted rehab, you know, of this type of nature, you know, going to take? It's not exact, that I can tell you. Not everybody, you know, heals in the same way and the same speeds with this, you know, different types of injuries. So if it was exact, it'd be super easy to do. And so then there's all sorts of other factors. Did it respond? Did it not? And where are we at? So you just try to play it as close as you can, knowing that it's not always going to be on this timeline or that. So I think what I've learned is just, man, have patience and listen, you know, to the player. They know it best. They really do. They're going to push it hard to see where they can go to, but they know it best. And we just follow those guidelines. We got a strict, you know, procedure that we go through. So we just try to stay connected to that and follow and listen.
From Sam Cosmi, with him kind of being on the cusp here. I know you have until next week to activate him.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from him last week. First padded work, he got a lot of reps, and we expect to do that kind of same, you know, process with him this week. But it was a hell of a start for him, you know, to get back and get rolling. He's really put the work in. So, you know, anticipating seeing that continue and trajectory going up.
Dan, at the opening, you said you're happy it's a short week. Can you explain that mentality and that attitude a little bit, that mindset?
Well, I think when it doesn't go your way, and this game was a hard one for us in a lot of ways, we beat ourselves. And those are as hard a loss, you know, to deal with. When it goes down to the end, you hit your marks, they do, and it doesn't go your way. Those are ones that's the life of a competitor. When you beat yourselves, that one hurts more because you didn't finish it or didn't play it in a style or attitude or things that you wanted to do. So those are important, and we want to make sure the lessons that are meant for us are learned and also get it corrected. That's been uncharacteristic of us in that way, and we certainly plan on getting that fixed.
With Bill Krosky-Merritt fumbles in back-to-back weeks, obviously there's teachable moments, learning moments in those situations, but what's the point of when maybe becomes an issue and not necessarily any more of a teaching, learning moment?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've got to give them the space to grow for sure and prove that those lessons are learned. Sometimes you don't really get to show that you've learned them until you're back into that spot. And so we want to make sure that, man, he's still growing, you know, and this is a rookie player they're going to have some ups and some downs just like any other guys. And I'm certain he's made of the right things to come battle through it. I can remember, you know, a few weeks back we were talking about Connerly and early start on some guys, and he said, man, we're going to fight through it and get there. And so this is no different to me. This is learning, growing, and he'll bank on these experiences. And they're hard to go through, but it is necessary. It sucks when you go through them, but when you come out the other side, there's a lot of value that comes with that.
Coach, understanding that inside this building that everything is 1 week at a time, when you look at outside of this building, how big this game is every year to these fans of the Burgundy and Gold, what's your message to the team to make sure that they don't allow that emotion to come into play when it's Washington versus Dallas?
Yeah, it's really awesome to be in the NFC East. It really is, and there's times we'll just kind of show some of the highlights from the years past of people that have been in this space and in these games. So we like that. We like what it stands for. But at the end, it's about us and getting ourselves ready and getting the team ready, and that's really what my message was for them today. We're going to prepare really hard, for what we need to, but our play style and attitude is what's at hand, and it's just cool to be part of a division that has some long-term rivalries that are cool.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
A kicker like Brandon Aubrey, obviously with his range, but also his ability on special teams to kind of put kickoffs in hazardous places. How big of an impact can he have specifically on a game like this? Yeah,
Brandon's been on it, and playing there, honestly, it's even adds to some of that a little bit for the distance of the kicks. Not dealing with some of the weather, so playing there inside. Can make some of the field goal attempts and that type of thing even longer. But they got a good special teams crew. It's a good matchup. Like our guys, their guys, like it's a big part of this game. Nick Sorensen, who's the special teams coordinator there, known for a long time, and both units really have some heavy hitters on their special teams. And Brandon, for them, is right in the middle of it between the kicks. And both teams like to cover, like to hit, and so it'll be a fun matchup for sure.
And I don't know how much you can really dive into it, but if at all, their defense and their offensive schemes have kind of changed since 2024. They've kind of evolved in some significant ways. Because of that, how much can you really lean on last year's tape and experience against these units?
You know what, Davis? You can look at, as a player, some of the matchups, a style and attitude of what a player may do, what they look like at the line, how would they pass protect. As far as the scheme goes, that's for this season. That's that. So it is worth it just from the personnel side of things and seeing things and how they would play and what their strengths would look like. They've also added some new faces like we have into some different spots, at receiver, at running back, at defensive end, at other locations. So you do look at it, but it's the tape from 2025 that you really dive into. And now that we're 6 games in, there's more tape, obviously, so you don't have to go back as much.
You played in Dallas. You've coached in Dallas a bunch. With this game being a 4:30 game, the sun setting in that end zone directly into the stadium, how much effect does that take on a game, and how do you guys kind of work to combat that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and this time of year could come into effect, that you want to make good decisions when you can regarding where it would look like, where a glare would be. So it's definitely something that as a coach I think about, and obviously we'll talk to the team about. But yeah, you're on it.
Dan, to go back to Noah, I get that the decision to IR, hindsight 2020 further now, but his injury history was something that was known. Obviously last year was a bit of a fluke, but prior to that he'd had injuries. What was for you, I know the front office obviously has a big say in personnel, but what for you was the plan with, hey, if Noah does get hurt, we're expecting X, Y, Z to happen? Did you feel comfortable with what you guys had knowing his injury history?
Like prior to re-signing him?
Yeah. At the point of re-signing him or making other moves in free agency and the draft?
Well, we knew we wanted him back for sure. Like that was like evident coming into it. I think that goes with it, Ben, that, like when there's an injury history on somebody that you want to know what that looks like and who would be there. Coming into camp, I thought we had a big competitive group at that spot. I love what he brings to us outside. But yeah, I don't know if it's any different than any other spot, where there's, a guy gets banged up and who would be next in line to do those things. So not like a lot different than a lot of other spots, other than they were bummed that he's out and looking forward to getting him back. All right, thanks everybody.
So we'll get started with the last game first, and then we'll move to Dallas. A couple of things. We didn't get any turnovers, and they got 3. We we had 3 opportunities. I mean, real opportunities on defense and 1 on special teams, so that makes 4. We dropped 2, and then the ball went up, and we didn't get it. So what do we have to do as coaches? I mean, we got to put them in and expose them. We're doing different drills this week, exposing them to different ball drills to make sure that we come down with those balls. Sudden change, we talked about it the last 2 wins that we had. When we got in sudden change, the offense turned the ball over. We didn't allow points, okay? In this game, we allowed 13 points. All right, so that's not good enough. We went into this game, number 1 versus the screen, and they hit some screens on us for a number of yards, which was, new to us this year. And then the running back run game, they ran the ball for the first time, with the running back. They got significant yards. In our missed tackles, I think we're at 12%. That puts us at 17th in the league. If you're at 11%, that puts you in top 10. So 1% better in our missed tackles will get us where we want to be if you look at it from a ratio. If you just look at the raw number, which is, I don't think, a fair way of looking at it, because of you take the tackles versus the missed tackles, and that's how you get the ratio from that standpoint. There were some positives from the game. I thought Payne played well, J.K. played well, Trey, and Frankie. But at the end of the day, we're here to win, and so we're not necessarily looking for positives. We're here to win. So moving forward to Dallas, had a lot of history with those guys being there for 3 years. Dak is playing the best ball that he's playing. Man, he is playing at a high level, getting the ball out of his hands. He has really good eligibles outside. CD will be back. Turp will be back. So the running back is running hard. The offensive line is blocking really good. Tyler Smith, one of the best guards. The young rookie Booker, he's playing well. Steele's playing well. They're blocking in as a unit. The tight ends, Ferguson, he's highly targeted. Dak has a comfort level with him. They're putting up a lot of points. They're good run and pass. They're very good offense. And so we have our work cut out for us. We just have to, nail it back down. And like I said, we're trying to get off this roller coaster. And like last week, I talked about not being on it, and we're staying on it. So hopefully we can get off and start playing consistent play. Any questions?
Joe, like you said, the screen game you had done well, but why did they have some success? Was it recognition, awareness? What was it there?
There was a couple of things, one screen that they hit on us that I guess got the biggest yards, that we went the wrong way with one guy, and that allowed the blockers to get up. And then there was 2 that I think got around 11 or 12 yards. And, sometimes that's going to happen in the screen. They had good plays on that, but there was one that really got too many yards that normally didn't happen. Then we hit one in the backfield on a tight end screen. We've done really nice against the screen, but this game, with our pressure, it got behind us a little bit.
And then, like you said, with Dak playing well, what is the difference you've seen in him? And then how much more dangerous that offense with CD and then Pickens on the outside?
Dak has always played well. I just see him really getting the ball out of his hand really quick. He plays with great anticipation. His back foot hitting the ground and the ball's coming out. He can elude people in the pocket. He can make every throw. He's faster and stronger than people really give him credit for. And then when you have CD and Pickens on the outside, and not only them, you have the running back that doesn't allow you to play a lot of cover 2 against them, because the running back can run through tackles. So the combination of all 3 makes it very, very difficult to put hats over the top of those guys outside. And then once they get the ball, CD is like a running back once he gets the ball in his hand.
Going back to the missed tackles, is that difficult to work on in season, just because you're not doing a ton of live hitting in practices? You want to maintain the guy's health in season. Like, is that a difficult thing to improve in season?
I don't think for the simple fact that this is the NFL, and this is how you have to practice in it. There's nobody doing it any differently, okay? You have to make sure that you're getting your body, you're bending at the end of tackles in practice. We're not putting our, like yesterday was a walkthrough. So bend at the end, get your body in position, throw hands, and get multiple people there. Vice tackle. Don't leave a guy on a singular tackle when multiple people can be there. So you have to make sure the details of that, because we're not going to the ground, but nobody's going to the ground at this time of the year. So like I said, right now we're at 12% in missed tackles. If we get to 1% better, that's going to put us top 10. If we get to 10%, that puts you top 5. So the margins are small in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So we're at 17th right now. That's not where we want to be. We want to be top 10, moving into the top 5 in that area. So we will continue to work at it and get it done.
And then looking at the Cowboys, what has George Pickens brought to this offense, and what challenge does he pose?
He's one of the best deep ball catchers, body control to the catch in the league. I mean, he can run the slant and run away from you, but at the same time, his ability to track the ball and get body control to it is unique and rare. It's a lot like AJ Green was in his early years. I thought he was a really good deep ball catcher. This guy is along that line of what AJ used to do, where AJ was catching over his eyes. He has the ability to contort his body to go get it.
Similar to Nikki's question about tackling with turnovers, is it a year-to-year thing where you're working with the guys on different techniques, different games? Obviously, it's a little bit of ball luck in terms of picking them up, but in terms of kind of creating those turnovers, it's something that you guys have preached since you've been here. How do you kind of amp that up as the season goes on?
You know, we got to do a better job as coaches and exposing them in the drills. We had two in our hands that we dropped. Okay, so why are we dropping them? All right, are we giving them those type of tips and overthrows type balls in practice enough? Are we giving the linebackers the drive throws when they have to fall back when they're in different spacings? We have to make sure as coaches that we expose to guys, because I'm a firm believer of when we expose them, when they understand it, they go make the plays. You know what I'm saying? So we'll do a better job of that.
You talked a little bit about the running game last week to this week. What did you see, because you all were basically stopping the run.
Yeah.
What did you see some key things that you were doing last week that you have to clean up this week with stopping the run a little more?
Yeah, still in between the tackles, the two big guys did a nice job with Kinlaw and Payne. We missed Eddie. It would have been nice to have him. But the ball – on the C and D gaps, we're getting outside, and so we have to do a better job of setting edges and making sure that we're flowing. People still aren't running in between the tackles. They didn't necessarily run in between the tackles. It was more perimeter runs. So we have to ensure the C and D gaps and the crack toss and those plays that got outside of us. We have to do a better job of setting edges and those things.
And you talked about Dak, the year that he's having. Mm-hmm. What are some keys that you know that you all have to do to kind of like slow him up if possible?
He's having a great year. Everybody sees it. I think, we've pressured the quarterback really well. We have to hit him, all right? But he's the type of quarterback. I always judge a quarterback once you hit him, do they look at the rush? He doesn't look at the rush. He keeps his eyes downfield. He's a real quarterback. Most quarterbacks or younger quarterbacks, or when you hit them, they start looking at the rush. He doesn't do that. You can hit him. He's a very tough man, so I understand that. But we have to hit him, and we have to make sure that he's uncomfortable in the pocket, because if he's sitting back there hitting his back foot, getting the ball out to his eligibles, he's really, really good. So we have to find a way to get to him and hit him.
Hey, Coach, you've mentioned when I've asked previously about October football, what you wanted to see. You talked about the consistency.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you have seen consistently with your defense?
Well, our third down has been good. Okay, we've our situation is third down, fourth down. We're getting off the fields in those situations. The ability to the completion percentage is down. The runs up until this last week was good. If we can take the explosive play, so like the play on the sideline where we had the missed tackle that went, that's the tackle that we have to make. You know what I'm saying? And we have to do a better job of drilling that, as coaches, and then coming through with that, because we get that ball down. All right, it's a first down in that situation, and now they have to go a longer ways. But just work at it. Like I just told the guys today. Like DQ said in his opening press conference when he first got here. Doing hard shit with good people, it's hard. Nobody said this was going to be easy, but we'll get it done. That if we're going to walk around here and with a negative cloud on us, which we're not, which I'm not, because that's not productive. All right, we're going to work at it. We're going to try to find ways. We're going to be creative, but at the end of the day, we got to win. All this lip service and talking that I'm doing, if we don't win, it don't really matter. All right, so we got to win. The fun in football is winning, and I understand the fans. They're passionate, and that's how they should be. All right, they should be passionate about these Commanders, and we got to do a better job. Period.
And what have you seen from Trey Amos so far this season?
Trey's played really well. I mean, especially when it's outside the numbers, the kid has, every week he's played well. I mean, he's been a consistent player, and I've been pleased with him.
Joe, through 6 weeks, 6 games, what's the strength of your defense, do you see?
Pressuring the quarterback right now, the D-line, I would say, would definitely the strength, yes.
And there's always a balance between you want to react to what the offense is showing versus doing what you do well. Like in this last game, what was the challenge there? They went with 11 personnel, way more than they had been, and you guys have been using a little more with 12. What with McGee? What's that balance like? Oh, well, they're doing this now. We have to change, or what do we, stay with our strengths?
Ask the question again, because I'm not quite understanding.
Basically, how do you determine when do you stay with your strengths versus reacting to what they're doing and dictating sort of the terms as opposed to the other way around?
Yeah, so they had been more 12 personnel, all right, and so, but when they went 11, that's not a weakness of ours. We can pressure the quarterback and play really well out of 11 personnel, especially 2x2. We've been playing, looking at some of the analytics, been playing really well in 2x2 situations in 11 personnel. I was anticipating more 12 and more McGee being able to get out there, but they didn't put 12 out there. So, the offense dictates what personnel they put out there, and then we try to match it as much as possible. And hopefully you understand the fact that if we put our 4-3 look out there versus 12, now it limits some of our pressures, because now you have linebackers match on receivers, all right, and that's not what you want. And so, or you get real predictable, because now you have to blitz the linebacker that's over the receiver, which they know will probably is coming, because they're knowing that you're not going to have McGee covering the slot receiver. So that's why we go with our nickel package versus 11 a lot of the times.
Joe, when it comes to a team, or when there's a team that has a speed advantage, what are some ways you can work around that as a defense?
A team that has a speed advantage? I don't feel like we really face a team that necessarily had a speed advantage. We have fast guys on the outside. We're fast up front, so But if you do have a team that necessarily has a top off guy, you can play cover 2 to it. You can roll to them. You can stay over the top of them. There's ways that you can encapsulate those guys, but I don't think that wasn't the case this last game.
I guess you mentioned some of those runs to the perimeter being an issue, or maybe passes to the perimeter. I guess what do you think the problem was on those types of plays?
We got to set the edge. That wasn't a speed deal. It's the ability to set the edge and make sure that ball turns back. It wasn't that it was getting out there before because of speed. It was the edge setting on it. Yeah.
You talked about the explosive plays earlier, and I know that each one is kind of its own individual thing, but thematically, when you look at them all together, is it more scheme or execution, and what is it like for you as the D coordinator watching the film of those plays?
It's the execution and the communication. If we have great pre-snap communication, it provides better post-snap play. And so a lot of the plays are plays that we've gone over. We just have to make sure we're executing them on game day. That's just what it is. And some of them, like I said, the big play that hit us in this last game, it was a play that should have gone for 8. It went for 55 because of a missed tackle. That falls into that same bucket of explosives.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. Third downs, you guys are top half in the league in third down defense. The Cowboys are top half in the league in third down offense. Mm-hmm. What are some of the keys, obviously, without getting in the scheme, to making sure your strength outdoes their strength?
When we get an opportunity to rush them to win, making sure that when he hits his back foot that there's not people open, that he can get the ball out of his hand, to change the picture, as much as possible. That's what typically we try to do on third down. Dak, he understands coverages. He understands the role of coverages. So if you keep it, if his pre-snap look is what you do post-snap, he's going to carve you up. So we have to make sure that we do a good job of being on the bodies of these guys.
Joe, with the missed tackling, tackling is such a fundamental principle of football. You learn it, you start it in Pop Warner. When the missed tackles start piling up and you're up there in the box, you're thinking what? Like, what are your emotions when you just see? It's almost like a helpless feeling, because
it's not a helpless feeling. Don't speak for me. We have to do a better job of it. Okay, we have to take one more step to the tackle. We have to make sure we're wrapping. We make sure we're coming up with a body part as we're going. The running and hitting, has been there, was there the week before. You know, we did not have the turnbacks, the number of turn. We only had 12 this week. You know what I'm saying? So that number was not where it needed to be. But you know, we're going to continue to drill it, and like I said, 1% better gets us in the top 10. All right, so hopefully I can come here and say 3 weeks from now that, all right, now when you look at the ratio, we're in the top 10, and then we can move further. We have a lot of games left, okay? And I understand that we let an important game get away from us, all right, and it shouldn't have. All right, we should have won this game, especially on defense at the end right there, but we didn't. And so we have to make sure that we get off this roller coaster and we just play consistent ball. All right, y'all have a great one, okay?